Hello, everybody. Welcome to Python.
If we say that this is the IT industry, okay, you see that skeleton with everything. So if this body is the IT industry, yes, Hussein. So the programming language is the blood running in veins. So this is the liquid of life for IT. Without coding, there's nothing of the technology that you see, your watch, your phone. You wouldn't have been able to hear me and listen to me and see me like real time. So programming is the blood that circulates inside the vein of IT. Python, they say it's an interpreted, high-level, general-purpose programming language. So interpreted means it is translated into another language. It could be a middle language, and then that language is compiled or interpreted into a machine language. We don't care about that part. But what we care is that the computer doesn't take it as it is. It needs to be transformed into another language so that the computer can read it and can execute whatever commands behind that language, right? High level means that it's not a machine language. It's high level. It needs another layer beneath. So you're talking about a top tier, you're talking to a top layer of the machine, and there are so many layers below. So it's on a high level that you could talk to or you could write on, and then that level needs to be treated by lower tiers, lower levels. I know this sounds like a little bit hard to imagine, but never mind, okay? All this will come, I promise you, like piece by piece, bit by bit, like puzzle, and you will see it yourself. You'll be able to visualize it, to understand it, and explain it even to others. Just bear with me and try to like keep up, okay? One rule, very important, and we're not gonna stop saying rules for you to use, and you're not gonna forget it, believe me, because I'm gonna ask you at the end of each session, how many rules did I give you? So one rule is whatever is hard, whatever you cannot understand, whatever you cannot operate, whatever cannot go through here, never mind. Step on top and move on and come back later. Python has less code, more libraries, easier to learn. It's platform independent. It runs on any operating system, on any platform, on any machine. You could use Python and just run it on the machine. And massive community support, like the #1 language in demand right now after JavaScript, of course, not because JavaScript is more convenient, no, but because JavaScript is older a little bit and took its time to build and gave the front end developers all the ease they needed to develop the front end. And users, not like you and me, but users, they don't care about the back end. They don't even know what is the back end. They don't care about how the server is built. They just want to go on the application, click on the button, and get whatever they're expected as a result. But this is why JavaScript is more in demand, because it's specific to front end. 80% of the front end, I would say 80%, like easily, of the front end development is based on JavaScript, if not more. So this is why JavaScript is still, like, we have a lot of things, like billions of applications, web apps that are built with JavaScript. So I need developers still to maintain and create things to be compatible with that. Now Python is competing with the Django framework. We'll get to that later, but Python is competing right now. This is why it's a multi-purpose, it's all-purpose language. So a massive community support. The experts, the tycoons of the industry, they prefer Python, and they're fascinated by Python. the guy, it's one person. He decided to create a language because he had some difficulties using two different languages. So based on his experience, he thought, yeah, maybe in 2 to 3 months I can create the interpreter, which is the core of the language, the everything about the language almost. But of course, he said, yeah, it took him like more than a year to finish that, or 2 to 3 years, I think. And then they released it in 1991. So it's old, right? It's not very it's not very new. It's not like in the 2010s. It's been there for decades. So it's the community now is by millions and millions of developers and users of Python. So what do you think about that? I mean, like, do you have anything? I would like to hear comments about this. How like motivating, how amazing, how positive this has as an impact on you. Anybody wants to speak up? So you could use like Google Colab, it's better. And also you could use the playground. Each playground for each module you're having on the LMS is programmed to run the code of the language that you're learning. Okay, so here's the playground for Python. You'll find it in your LMS. And this is the Google Colab we just spoke about. Okay, ready for the for the big thing? First steps into coding. Single quotes, double quotes, holding text within. This is a string data type. Python will love it, will operate it, will process it with no problem. Okay, so the quotes are so very crucial for a text to be processed by Python. Now I am still doing the only processing that I know and I want to learn. And the easiest one is to print an output, to show an output in my console. I'm using the print function. Later on, we're going to use other functions. And guess what? The other functions, they operate in the same exact manner. They will not take undefined variables. They will not take undefined names from you unless you define them prior to using the function. All right? This is how Python works. It reads line by line.